Good morning, everyone. My name is Melanie Butasak Nabalta from Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Filipino. Today, I will discuss about mediums in performing arts. Mediums of the performing arts. Performing arts is a creative activities presented before an audience, on a stage, and in open places. When heard and seen simultaneously, these arts become combined arts. The performing arts include music, dance, theater arts, play or drama, and literature. But this book, only music and literature will be discussed. Music. Music is an art. Culture is reflected in art. The more music man knows, the more cultured he becomes. Music deals with sounds. The medium of music are vocal and instrumental musics.
Vocal music is the oldest and most natural form of music. Voice is produced by the vibration of the vocal cords in the voice box. Since the sound produced by this vibration is not loud enough to be heard, resonators, lungs, esophagus, head, and mouth cavities are needed to increase its volume. Hence, correct positioning of the head, body, and mouth will be able to air and vibrate freely. Correct posture. Standing correctly allows the air in the different body cavities to vibrate and flow fully. Keeping one foot forward will help maintain body balance. When seated while singing, keep your back away from the chair in the rising position. Correct breathing. The quality and volume of the voice depends upon breathing. Diaphragmatic breathing is advisable, which, as the name implies, in breathing supported by the diaphragm. In the diaphragmatic breathing, proper exhalation and inhalation is necessary.
Hey guys, Roger Burnley, vocal coach here in Hollywood, California. I am going to talk about something I don't talk about an awful lot in my training or my programs, and that's breathing for a lot of different reasons. Um, when I started out, the first thing that happened when I went to a coach, I went through so many of them, and so they said, "Oh, you're not breathing correctly," and I thought, okay, well maybe that's a problem. That's why I can't sing. And so I would go through all these different things that they would show me to do. Some of them involved, lying on the floor, getting in touch with how I was breathing. I would tie a belt around my diaphragm so I could feel my breath. I mean, lots of different things. And there was value in all of them, but they weren't addressing my problem. And that's why I feel what happens with a lot of my clients too. Most times what's happening is that we're really cutting off our air. And so I always start with the place when I'm working with a client and working in my program, starting with the place for you understanding how you're creating the air and to stop doing things that would cut off, that would block your air. And typically that is from us pushing and tightening to try to get the air to come through, which we don't need. So anyway, after we have gotten to a place where we've worked with your body enough where you are not blocking yourself, meaning you're not pushing into things that are closing off your air, then we can start to talk about diaphragmatic support. So what you're going to do is take your breath, just take a really big breath. I can feel that as I'm taking that breath, it's coming. I'm just exaggerating this right now. Bring coming in from my mouth. Taking this really big breath. Now, as I'm doing this, I kind of notice that my diaphragm here, and this is all the diaphragm, starts to, as I'm taking that really big breath, I notice that that diaphragm does start to come out. But what if I actually cheat that a little bit? Meaning I'm going to push out for it. No. Wow, I feel like I even have more air there because I've just kind of pushed out. I've taken that big breath in through my mouth, my nose, wherever. I'm just taking that big breath in. I can feel all this come out. Now I want to hold it though. So I've taken the big breath. What I was doing there is I'm feeling the air, I'm kind of pushing out, but I'm also kind of thinking down. Let me try to do it on a little tone maybe so you can get a sense of this. Oops, sorry. Hey, hey.
Correct placement of the voice to prevent throat singing and develop good tone quality. Never force out the voice Project the voice upward toward the head to improve tonal quality. Correct diction. Diction has nothing to do with the air vibration, but it is just as important in singing. Good diction includes correct pronunciation, clean enunciation, and distinct articulation. Good diction conveys the meaning of the song to the listeners. To bring out the meaning of the song, it is important to sing it in an expressive manner. Subordinate the less important words or parts of the words and stress more important ones. When you sing the lupang hinirang, which word or syllables should be stressed? Correct interpretation. Music is made even more beautiful when it is interpreted properly. How singer makes use of his face, eyes, hand, and other parts of the body, as is his voice in conveying the meaning of the song. Without correct interpretation, songs become dull and uninteresting. Classification of vocal music. Vocal music can be classified into long vocal forms and short vocal forms. Long vocal forms include: first is opera. Drama set to music with action, costume, and scenery. It consists of overture, arias, recitative, ensemble, and chorus. Number 2. Cantata. A story told in music without action. It is a smaller version of the oratorio and may be secular or religious. Third is oratorio, a form of dramatic music also consisting of an overture, arias, recitative, and ensemble based on biblical stories or contemplative characters. It is performed in correct style without costume, scenery, or action. Greater emphasis is given to the chorus and a testo is often utilized. Number 4. Moro Moro, a Philippine drama set to music that depicts Christians and non-Christians conflict. Number 5. Zarzuela, a Philippine drama set to music that is similar to the opera. Short vocal forms include: first, folk song; second, arts songs; third, kundiman; fourth, balitao; 5. Danza habanera; 6. Anthem; 7. Motet; 8. Madrigal; 9. Ballad; 10. Choral; 11. Round or canon; 12. Aria. Voice classification. Voice differs considerably depending on its timbre, quality, and range, as the timbre voices are classified into women's voice and men's voices. First is women's voices. Soprano. Tone is lighter in character, less somber, and frequently more flexible. It is broken down into coloratura soprano, highest and lightest of all voices. The music written for this voice quality is full of runs, trills, and light ornaments. Mezzo soprano, medium high in tonal quality. Lyric soprano, less high and flute-like. It is suited for sweet songs like melodies. B. Alto or contralto. Tone is richer and fuller. Men's voices. Tenor, the highest types in men's voices. Baritone, lies between tenor and bass. Bass, lowest and deepest voice quality. Instrumental music. Aside from voice, instruments are the other medium in producing music. Instrumental music are classified into: first, sonata, a long composition for solo instrument consisting of large section called movements. These movements are allegro, andante, and rondo. An example is Sonata in C major by composer Wolfgang A. Mozart. Second is suite, a series of musical pieces that tells a story. A music that tells a story is called program music, while a music that tells no story is absolute music. An example is the Nutcracker Suite, composed by Peter Tchaikovsky. Third is symphony, a sonata for the orchestra. Ludwig van Beethoven, 1772-1827, was a great musician remembered for his immortal symphonies. Fourth is concerto, a sonata for solo and orchestra designed to show off the virtuosity of the soloists. Some of the greatest concerto musicians were J.S. Bach and Vivaldi. Fifth is chamber music, written for two solo instrument, violins and flutes, and basso continuo, low string and keyboard, and usually in several movements. Chamber music is classified into sonata da camera or chamber sonata and sonata da chiesa or church sonata. Some composers of chamber music were Vitali, J.S. Bach, and Torelli and Porcelli. Types of musical instruments. Musical instruments have always been a source of wonder to both the player and the listener. They figure in our music singly in small groups, in a band, or as a part of the ensemble orchestra. Musical instruments are of three main types: string instrument, wind instrument, and percussion instrument. Wind instruments fall into two groups: the brasses, so called because they are usually made of brass, and the woodwinds, so named because they were originally made of woods. The modern flute and piccolo are almost always made of metal. The most common string, woodwinds, brass, and percussion instruments used in the Philippines music are listed on the succeeding pages in order to range from highest to lowest. Their size corresponds to their pitch. Small instruments produce faster vibration and thus higher sounds, and larger instruments produce slower vibration and thus lower sound. String instrument: violin, viola, violoncello or cello, string bass. Woodwinds: piccolo, flute, clarinet, oboe, English horn, bass clarinet, basson, and contrabasson. Brasses: trumpet, French horn, trombone, tuba. Percussion instrument: snare drum, bass drum, cymbals, and triangle. The properties of musical sound. Musical sound have four properties: pitch, duration, volume, and timbre or tone color. First is pitch. In music, position of a single sound in the complete range of sounds. Sounds are higher or lower in pitch according to the frequency of vibration of the sound wave producing them. Pitch refers to the quality of sound that we identify as being relatively or high or low. Definite pitches are called tones and are measured in terms of their frequency, which is a scientific calculation of the number of the cycle per second. Next is duration. Duration depends on the length of time over which vibration is maintained. Tones are not only high or low but also short and long. Third is volume. Volume refers to the force of percussive effects, as a result of which the tone strikes as being loud or soft. Forte means loud, piano means soft. Fourth is timbre or tone color. Timbre is the individual quality of the sound produced by the other instruments. This depends on how the instrument accentuates the overtones within the sound wave. It is influenced by the number of factors such as the size, shape, and the proportion of the instrument, the material of which it is made, and the manner in which the vibration is set up. Literature. The medium of literature is language. Each part of the world has literature written in its own language. Literature written in language like French, Chinese, Italian, German, or Russian are the most often translated to English to facilitate wider reach and distribution. However, no matter how beautiful a translation is, it can never capture the original beauty of the manuscript. No translation is ever more than an approximation of the original. Sometimes a single translation is so nearly perfect that it is accepted as an adequate rendering of the original, but the sound of the original is completely lost, only the sense perceived. The best practice is to compare several versions of different translators, for often a different translator gives a new insight into passage.